Hello, friends. I wonder if you also have noticed for a while that things don't really work anymore. Things that we used to do to improve things, to get better, to be more successful. It seems like a lot of these things that used to work are not really working anymore. And I wanted to bring that up today because I think there's something really important about that it's not a negative thing at all. It is because we are moving into a new way of being, a new paradigm. And what used to work in the old paradigm worked for that way of being, hardworking, pushing, figuring it out, strategizing, all these things where it was very mental and also very physical, where we did things to improve things. And I think that was very much related to that time, to that way of expressing of the old paradigm, because the old paradigm is lacking what the new paradigm is bringing in. So there has to be something about that. It can't keep working the way we used to do it because we're moving now into that new paradigm. And the rules are different there. I might even say the rules are gone. The rules that we have lived by and believed in, they do not exist there. And that's why it's hard, you know. So what used to work here, and it can be anything. It could be for instance, you know, I'm an entrepreneur and I've taken a lot of these marketing coaching classes over the years because you're supposed to do it this way, and then you do this, and you set it up this way, and then this amazingness happens. And that seemed to work for a number of people, but certainly not for everyone. And it seems like that whole way of doing business for entrepreneurs, it's not really working anymore. It has come to the end because it was very mental and driven focused. And that's why a lot of people are still very driven, who those who were successful or who are successful, many of them are still living in that push, 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 work, work, work. And they're exhausted. And it's probably really hard to stop it, right? Because it made you successful once and it may still be going well, but you can't just stop it then because what's going to happen then? And it can be scary, you know, to suddenly stop what seemed to work, like hands off, like, whoa, what do I do now? But because it is so hard to let it go ourselves, it also seems that it's kind of taken away from us, or it just crumbles, or it falls apart, or it doesn't work anymore. And then we are forced to look in a different direction and find new ways of bringing, shall I say, bringing in our gifts and the things that we came here to share. For those of us who feel we came here for a specific reason, then we need to find new ways, and that can be challenging, you know, because this seems to be the way, but it's not anymore. So, but it's also if it's our health, right? It used to be you went to the doctor and you got your medication, all physical things, pills, whatever. That has maybe grown a little bit out of hand, if you agree with me on that. And then it's kind of moved to more natural ways, more natural medicines. This is great. That works for a while or for a long while. And that's still in the physical realm, right? It's still the really 3D physical realm. And then out of that, there was like, okay, now we're going to change things with the mind, you know. So there's all these amazing create your own reality workshops and the law of attraction, many amazing, amazing ways. Some big, Tony Robbins, he's a big one, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. There's many who are just creating amazing, amazing things in the world. I'm deeply impressed and touched by them. It's beautiful. And it's like they have taken it to the next level from the physical to the mental, where you now create by changing your mind and, doing it from within instead of just being out there. So it's coming through the mind, right? Matter of the mind matter. And lo and behold, that doesn't quite work anymore either. Like the physical stopped quite working, so people looked for better physical ways, and then to the mental and the mind ways. And a lot of that is also not working anymore. It still is, for sure. It's like we have to go through these stages, and they keep getting us more connected with our true nature, with our organic and authentic expression. So there is a natural evolutionary process in that, and that's very, very beautiful. I can totally appreciate all of it, and it's been my own path also. And then at a certain point, like that's not really working anymore either. Now what? And that is where a lot of us are right now. It's like now we have to surrender the old ways, and now we have to find out a new way. It's like we have to tune in to the field. I know I've talked about this a lot. I think it's so cool that we can just, it's like plugging into the field, open up to it, and let's feel in the body and in the heart what shows up, what is true. And this is the part where we are needing to surrender, maybe not all the old at once, but maybe a lot of it, and start practicing to surrender. And what is it that we are surrendering? It is that separate sense of self. That's one that has left severed. You can't sever it, but it feels like it. The divine connection gone out into the world and really wanted to make it happen and create something. And it's been amazing, right? Because when you are in that process of creation, it's amazing. It's very invigorating and inspiring and enlivening. So it's all good. It's all good. But we also have to realize what is also happening. That is also beginning to fall away. Not the creation part. Creation always happens, but it is the separate sense of self that is needing to work hard, at the sweat of your brow. Hard work. That's what happened after we left the Garden of Eden, right? We have to work hard at the sweat of our brow. That's where we've been for a long time. And now we are on our way back into the Garden of Eden, where we can leave that hard work behind. Not all at once, because we're still, half here and half there. So we need to make it a gentle, supportive transition and constructive. It's not just like we just let it all go. Unless that is really what comes from within you, then of course you can go with that. But the transition is where we still are creating and doing things, but now it's coming from here, from surrendering the separate sense of self that goes da-da-da, I have to do it all. So we leave that behind, and then we go inside and go, okay, so now what? How do I create now when I'm not thinking that I have to figure it all out? This is the place of real surrender of that separate sense of self. And I know many of us are there, and it's not always easy, because the fears that were based in the old paradigm, that is still like the fear that, oh, what about my bills? What about my health? Can I trust this? What I'm surrendering to? I don't even know what it is. how can I live without believing that I am, and then whatever your name is and your role, how is that even possible? So it's definitely a big leap that we're all in right now, but it is the next step. And learning to not touch the old paradigm as we know it, at least touching it, letting go of it wherever we are able to. And it's not a bypass. It's not something we do with the mind. It's something we do deep from within. And that's where the deep work happens for all of us. And that's something we all need to do privately, or with a coach, with a teacher, with a therapist, whatever you feel, where you feel resonance, you feel somebody can help you slowly dismantle that whole structure that has made you believe that you are separate from the divine. Nobody can escape that because we've been living in this old paradigm, this dark dimension, the matrix, and everything we've done and believed and learned and whatever, it's all based on this old paradigm structure. It works there. It does not work here where we're moving to. So we need to find out, well, what is going to work? And that's why we are kind of in this space of not knowing. And not knowing is not a scary or a bad or a wrong thing. It's a very powerful and necessary phase to be in and to stay in, where we just learn to not know instead of, we're moving over to surrender. It's like, no, I want to hold on. I want to know. I want to know. So little by little, we let go of this knowing. So we start feeling comfortable in not knowing. I think I've done some videos on that. I'll see if I can find them and put the link here. Learning to just, what is it like to not know? What is it? What is my felt sense? What does it feel like in my body when I really do not know what to do next? And not trying to know, right? Because that's what we do. It's like, no, I want to know. So if we can stay here, it's like an open vacuum. What did I say? Yeah, what is it? God abhors a vacuum. So the more we create a vacuum, God is going to fill it. Your divinity is going to fill it. And that is that new energy coming in, the way the divine expresses itself here now, or is beginning to. So we need to create that vacuum where we literally do not know. And I think it's a powerful practice to take on, to just start, exploring what is it like to not know. Is that scary for you, or is it exciting? Because that's where we're entering into the mystery. And the mystery is what knows. It's a mystery, but there's a lot of wisdom and knowing and energy in there. And that's what we want to start tapping into. So as we liberate our energy from this separate sense of self, which was all identified in the old matrix, then we liberate that energy. And now we can just sit here. It's like, okay, now instead of putting it there, I'm just going to sit with that energy and find out, what is it? What is it if I don't put a glove on top of it, or a hood, or, a title or a name? Just letting it be just unknown. And then little by little, you start getting little intuitions and hints and things like that. And then we can see, oh, I want to go and do this now. Or like, oh, I want to connect with this person. Or something comes, in your consciousness or in your email, where you go like, oh, that resonates in here. And then you start taking the steps and the actions, and you follow that. Doesn't mean it always works out the way you think, but I think we are planting energetic seeds by following it. So then maybe the next person can pick up on it, and then something is going to start sprouting. And we may go like, hey, wait a minute, why didn't it sprout when I planted the seed? Well, planted the seed and then it needed a little time to sprout. And maybe you're out there planting other seeds so they can sprout and other people can take it to the next level. So that's how we're starting to move into this new paradigm, which is more based on oneness, unity, harmony, peace, flow, not all that old stuff. So is the world coming to an end? The world that as we know it is, the old paradigm is coming to the end. And that is that separate sense of self that was identified with this. Yeah, that is coming to an end. And that's a good thing. But it can be messy and it can be scary and it can be overwhelming. All the things that are going on in the world right now. So if you are resonating with what I share here, you may also notice that it's best for you not to get too involved in what's going on here, as that's just crumbling. The best thing is to just pull yourself out of that, not bypassing, but by fully feeling it so it can just kind of dissolve. And then plant yourself here in the mystery as an open portal for the new paradigm to start taking birth and expressing itself. And then we will find out what it's all going to look like. We do know in here because it's something we long for. So we know it, but now we just need to make ourselves available for that. And then, anything beautiful can happen. In the midst of the old dissolving, here we are. We planted the seeds, they're beginning to sprout. And so it's all happening at the same time. And we are here to be those sprouts. So please join me in the garden, the new Garden of Eden, where all the sprouts are beginning to settle and take root and show up. And then when we do it together, we can support each other in that. So I want to also just say this coming Tuesday, every first Tuesday of the month, I have an online gathering called Feel Your Deeper Longing, Find Your Spiritual Calling. And, this is where we start exploring what are these seeds or these sprouts that enliven us and how can we support that process in happening. So the link for that will be in the description below, and it would be lovely if you would like to join and we could meet each other there. All right. Thank you so much. Wishing you a beautiful day.